Good morning, everybody. Where to even start? Where do I begin? So those of you that follow me probably aware that I quite often have these spiritual experiences, or I travel between realms. At night time, I began to realize that just every night, I think we all do it, but it's whether we're conscious of it or not, or aware of it. But I've been more and more aware, acutely aware of leaving my body, my soul leaving the body at night time whilst my body's sleeping. But I'm aware of it, so I don't know how much sleep is actually taking place. But what I've been aware of recently is the coming back into my body, coming back into consciousness, in the human consciousness, because I'm conscious of what's happening up here. And there has been a transition of when I come back into my body, the language up here has to almost filter like through a sieve, or it has to be translated into a way that I can understand when I'm humanly conscious, almost like a translation. I know that often there's a lot of telepathy in these higher realms. But yeah, there's this, I was aware that I'm coming through back into this human realm, earthly realm, and there's this like a fuzz or a detuning on like the radio station, and then I retune and come back in, and then I remember the experience above. So I was having this, and I was like, oh, it's really a bit weird, a bit icky coming through those two realms and returning. There's like a friction. And then last night it happened, and it felt like I just slid through butter back into my body. And I was like, oh, that's strange. That happened with ease, and Spirit was talking to me about, yes, you have to learn to go with ease between these two realms, because your vessel has to be able to carry heaven on earth. That's part of your gift. And it's becoming more easy for you to coexist these two realms and tie them together. Rebecca means 3-strand cord, so holding heaven and earth together. Anyway, so I was coming back into my body after this, probably in and out throughout the evening. And I was coming back into my body for what felt like waking up, but I was aware it was really early hours of the morning. And just before I was about to re-enter my body, like my soul descend back into my body, I hesitated, and I was like, something's wrong. I can't get back in there. And I suddenly had to look at my body, my vessel, and I realized that she was very sad, and she was carrying a lot of hurt in her body, my physical form. But she seemed like someone separate to me, but someone that I cared about. And I realized that the more I've been traveling or having these experiences, I've been changed up here. And then I suddenly saw that my body has to change to match. And then I had to have this whole conversation with my body and realize that due to trauma and very uncomfortable situations that I faced over my life, particularly in the last 7 years, I had dissociated with my body, and I hadn't truly been living in her, embodied in her body, in my body. And I was able to see her as this very sad, she had a lot of sadness in her cells, in her muscles, and my body recently has been aching. Like, I'm like, what is wrong? My back hurts, my knees hurt, my joints hurt. And I thought it might be potentially down to my age, which it could be as well. But I've noticed a lot of pain and tension in my shoulders. Anyway, as I was trying to enter, I said, I can't come back into myself, you. We need something to change in order for me to, I will not come back into this body until we've had a conversation. And I felt a lot of shame that I'd left myself, that I dissociated in this from my body, and that there's been a lot of maybe distractions or coping mechanisms that haven't been embodied actions in order to deal with the traumas that have been faced. But I've never really been aware of this until this moment. So I had to go through my body, and I was speaking to my cells, I was speaking to my organs, I was telling all of these parts of my body, I love you, I love you, I'm so sorry I left you. It was too uncomfortable to be inside you. It was too uncomfortable to feel all the sensations that you were feeling in that traumatized state. So I kind of checked out mentally. And I told her I loved her, and I was crying. I felt awful, like, I'm so sorry I left. Like, she was left to mop up all my emotions, all my pain. It had gone into her muscles, and I was just having like this body scan of all the weight I've been carrying around on my shoulders. I was seeing it as a separate thing. Then I had to speak to my digestive system. I love you. I was asking it to recalibrate and to be aligned with my highest DNA, and I was watching these DNA strands respinning and reigniting me. And then I was speaking, I love you, I love you, I love you. I came to my respiratory system, I spoke to my digestive system. When I came to speak to my nervous system, I was in my body again, and I felt why I left. I felt this absolutely overwhelming sense of panic, and anxiety was all up in my chest. And I witnessed my nervous system as if it was a personality of its own. It appeared like a very frantic, scared child, and it was looking left and right. It was just alerting left and right to danger, danger, danger. It was in this constant state of hypervigilance and frustration and pain and acute hypervigilance, to the point where I just literally wanted to leave and go, I hate this feeling, get me out of here. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. And then I realized that's why I've dissociated. The feeling of trauma has kept me in this hypervigilant fight and flight state, to the point where I've checked out and said I can't deal with that sensation. So I've mentally checked out somewhere, or I've been somewhere that's disassociated in some way, and Spirit was asking me to realign. So I spoke to my nervous system and I told her, it's okay. I held my hand on my chest and one on my stomach. I said, it's okay, you can rest now. I'm here, I'm here. I'm sorry I left you. And it was like I was speaking to a little child, and I was now parenting this aspect of myself. And as I spoke to my nervous system, she took some while to sort of calm down. She was still, and then she sort of dropped down towards my ribs, but she was still like a little bit cautious, like, do I trust this? And I was like, it's okay, you can rest. And she dropped down to my stomach, and then she alerted, and then I felt all these butterflies and anxiety in my stomach, like you would when you're anxious. I was like, no, keep going, you can still keep going down. And then she sort of, the way I imagine it was like somewhere below my stomach, tucked underneath my back, and she curled up like a cat on a pillow and slept. And suddenly I felt my body regulate, and I felt things align, and Spirit started speaking to me about how I've been a lot in my head and I needed to drop into my heart. As soon as I heard that, I saw my heart space open up, and the chief appeared to me like I saw a match strike, hit myself on the nose. I saw a match strike from like my heart to my head, and in that moment the chief was in my heart, illuminated, and I was like, how long have you been here? And he was looking at me like, I never left, like I'm always here. And then there's another part of this story which I have to do in maybe part 2, where the chief then started to show me aspects of myself and my strength and the things that I have to do. But I wanted to speak about how we can dysregulate and how we can disassociate with our physical being and not take care of our physical needs, or maybe have unhealthy coping mechanisms where we're maybe not eating or eating too much, whatever your thing is, where you're distracting or you're disassociating from the sensations of trauma in your body, and how it's vital that you come back and center yourself and love every aspect of yourself. Let the 3 become one, mind, body and spirit, in order to have that perfect union of what Spirit wants to come through you. You've got to have it all connected. Love you today.